Fear is one of the most powerful emotions we experience, quietly shaping the decisions we make every day. It can creep into our minds as hesitation before a big opportunity, as self-doubt when facing a challenge, or as an invisible force keeping us trapped in familiar but limiting routines. Imagine standing on the edge of a life-changing decision, heart pounding, palms sweaty, yet feeling frozen, unsure of how to move forward. This is the reality for countless people who find themselves held back, not by lack of ability, but by the overwhelming grip of fear. Fear whispers stories of what might go wrong, magnifying risks while minimizing potential. It convinces us to stay small, safe, and comfortable, even when deep down we crave growth and success. It's the voice that tells us, not now, not me, or I'm not ready, turning dreams into distant wishes and goals into untouchable ideas. But what if that voice could be silenced or even transformed into something that propels you forward? Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's the mastery over it. It's the ability to feel fear and still take bold steps toward what matters most. Imagine waking up every day with a sense of empowerment, facing challenges head on, and moving through life with a steady belief in your own strength. This kind of confidence changes everything. It opens doors to new opportunities, fuels creativity, and inspires others around you. The question is, how do you break free from fear's grip and build that unwavering confidence? How can you shift your mindset so that fear becomes a signal, not a stop sign? This journey doesn't have to be complicated or overwhelming. With the right approach, anyone can learn to harness fear and turn it into a powerful motivator that drives success and fulfillment. It starts with understanding fear, changing your internal state, and then taking action. Even when the fear hasn't fully disappeared. When you commit to this process, the life you once imagined becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Fear is a universal experience, an emotion that every person encounters at some point in their life. It serves an important purpose to protect us from danger and keep us safe. Yet in modern life, fear often outstays its welcome. Instead of alerting us to real threats, it paralyzes us, preventing us from reaching our full potential. This kind of fear doesn't just appear in moments of physical danger. It shows up as fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, or even fear of success. These fears quietly shape our decisions, limit our ambitions, and keep us confined to a smaller version of the life we're truly capable of living. Confidence, on the other hand, is the inner state that enables us to face uncertainty with courage and clarity. It's not about being fearless, but about feeling empowered enough to move forward despite fear. True confidence allows us to embrace challenges, learn from setbacks, and keep growing. But many struggle to access this confidence when they need it most because fear clouds their thinking and drains their energy. The good news is that confidence is a skill, one that can be cultivated with practice, strategy, and intention. The journey to overcoming fear and building confidence begins with awareness. When we learn to identify what triggers our fear, we gain control over how we respond. Fear often thrives in the dark, feeding off our uncertainty and imagination. Bringing it into the light by naming it reduces its power. Alongside awareness, changing our internal state plays a crucial role. Our mind and body are deeply connected. Shifting our posture, breathing, and focus can move us from a state of anxiety to one of empowerment. This physiological shift prepares us to act with greater clarity and resolve. Action. It's the final and most critical piece. Taking even small steps forward despite fear builds momentum and rewires our brain's response to challenges. Each courageous act strengthens our confidence muscle, making the next step easier. It's in the doing, not waiting for fear to vanish, that transformation happens. This approach turns fear from a stumbling block into a stepping stone on the path to personal growth. By embracing this process, individuals unlock new possibilities and gain a deeper sense of self-trust. The ability to overcome fear isn't reserved for a select few. It's accessible to anyone willing to commit to growth. With consistent practice, fear no longer controls the narrative, and confidence becomes the foundation for living a fuller, more meaningful life. This journey reshapes how we see ourselves, our challenges, and the world around us, opening doors that once seemed firmly closed. Fear is one of the most common and debilitating challenges people face in their personal and professional lives. It is an emotion that can manifest in countless ways: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown, or even a fear of success. While fear can serve a protective function by alerting us to real danger, in many situations it becomes an obstacle that limits our growth and potential. Instead of acting as a helpful guide, fear often morphs into a barrier that keeps people stuck in their comfort zones, preventing them from pursuing goals, trying new experiences, or speaking up for themselves. This pervasive influence of fear affects people of all ages and backgrounds. For some, it might appear as a hesitation to start a new project or business venture. For others, it shows up as difficulty making decisions or seizing opportunities because the possible risks feel too overwhelming. Fear can even manifest physically, causing symptoms like increased heart rate, sweating, and a sense of paralysis, which only intensifies the mental struggle. Over time, these fears can erode confidence and self-esteem, leading to a cycle of avoidance and self-doubt that's hard to break. Many individuals experience an internal battle between their desire to move forward and the resistance created by fear. This internal conflict often results in procrastination, second-guessing, or outright quitting before even trying. People may find themselves trapped by what if scenarios. What if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if I lose everything? These hypothetical fears become so powerful that they overshadow the potential benefits of taking action. In this way, fear transforms into a mental prison, and the individual becomes a prisoner of their own limiting beliefs. The challenge is further complicated by the fact that fear is often deeply ingrained and automatic. It operates below the level of conscious thought, triggered by past experiences, social conditioning, or even evolutionary survival instincts. Because of this, simply telling oneself to stop being afraid rarely works. Fear responds to how we feel physically and emotionally, not just to logic or reasoning. As a result, many people find themselves stuck in a loop of negative thinking and emotional reactivity that reinforces the fear instead of dissipating it. This struggle with fear can have wide-ranging consequences. It can stall career advancement, damage relationships, limit creativity, and reduce overall life satisfaction. When fear dominates, people often settle for less than they deserve or fail to recognize their own strengths and capabilities. They may watch opportunities pass by, held back by a sense of inadequacy or uncertainty. Overcoming this problem is not just about feeling brave in the moment. It requires developing tools and strategies to manage fear consistently over time. Ultimately, the core challenge is learning how to coexist with fear without letting it control decisions and actions. The goal is to transform fear from a barrier into a signal, a cue that prompts focus and preparation rather than avoidance. This shift enables individuals to reclaim their power, build resilience, and approach life with greater confidence. However, doing so demands understanding how fear works, changing internal states, and committing to taking action despite discomfort. Without addressing this challenge head-on, fear will continue to limit growth and fulfillment, keeping dreams out of reach and potential unrealized. Fear is deeply embedded in human nature, serving as an evolutionary mechanism designed to keep us safe from harm. However, in today's world, many fears no longer serve a protective purpose, but instead become obstacles that hinder personal growth and success. Understanding how fear operates in the mind and body is the first step toward mastering it. Fear triggers a physiological response often referred to as the fight or flight reaction, releasing adrenaline and cortisol that prepare the body to respond to danger. While this response can be life-saving in true emergencies, when fear is triggered by everyday challenges, it can cause stress, anxiety, and paralysis. Many people unknowingly allow fear to control their actions because they don't recognize it for what it is, a natural reaction that can be managed and redirected. One of the most important realizations is that fear is often based on perception rather than reality. The mind tends to exaggerate risks, imagining worst-case scenarios that rarely come true. This magnification of danger increases anxiety and prevents clear thinking, making it difficult to take decisive action. By learning to observe fear objectively rather than reacting impulsively, individuals can create space to respond thoughtfully and strategically. Shifting one's internal state is a powerful tool in managing fear. The mind and body are interconnected, and changing physical posture, breathing patterns, or focus can alter emotional experiences. For example, adopting an upright posture, taking deep, deliberate breaths, and redirecting attention away from fearful thoughts toward positive or empowering ones can diminish the intensity of fear. This physiological shift signals to the brain that the threat is manageable, helping to calm the nervous system and restore clarity. Over time, practicing these techniques builds emotional resilience and reduces the likelihood of fear triggering overwhelming reactions. Another crucial element in overcoming fear is the willingness to take action despite feeling afraid. Confidence is not the absence of fear, but the ability to move forward regardless of it. Taking small, consistent steps creates momentum, rewiring the brain to associate action with progress rather than danger. Each successful experience builds a foundation of self-trust and reinforces the belief that fear does not have to dictate choices. This gradual exposure to fear-inducing situations helps reprogram conditioned responses and strengthens courage. Support systems also play a significant role in this process. Surrounding oneself with encouraging people who model confidence and provide constructive feedback can boost motivation and accountability. Sharing fears openly reduces their power by bringing them into the light and receiving validation or alternative perspectives. Learning from others' experiences and strategies can inspire new approaches and foster a sense of belonging and safety. Lastly, reframing fear as a signal rather than a stop sign changes the entire narrative. Fear can become a valuable indicator that prompts preparation, focus, and energy. Instead of avoiding discomfort, embracing it as a necessary part of growth opens the door to new possibilities. When fear is viewed as a challenge to be met rather than a barrier to be feared, it becomes a catalyst for transformation. By combining awareness, physiological shifts, courageous action, supportive relationships, and a positive mindset, individuals can systematically dismantle fear's hold on their lives. This comprehensive approach empowers people to reclaim control, build lasting confidence, and pursue their goals with greater freedom and enthusiasm. There comes a defining moment in the journey to overcoming fear, a turning point where everything shifts. This moment is not marked by the absence of fear, but by the decision to act in spite of it. It is the instant when hesitation gives way to determination, when doubt is met with resolve. It's a personal breakthrough where fear loses its grip and confidence begins to take root. This moment is often unexpected, sometimes small and quiet, yet it holds tremendous power to transform the course of one's life. At this key moment, the individual fully embraces the reality that fear is not a sign to stop, but rather a signal to move forward with greater awareness. Instead of being paralyzed by what might go wrong, there is a conscious choice to focus on what can be gained. This shift in perspective changes the energy behind the fear from one of avoidance to one of challenge and opportunity. The tension between desire and fear reaches a peak and courage wins out. Physically, this transformation is accompanied by a release of the adrenaline that once caused anxiety and self-doubt. The body moves from a state of fight or flight into a more balanced and focused state. The mind clarifies, no longer clouded by worst-case scenarios or what-if worries. In this heightened state, decisions feel sharper and actions more deliberate. Confidence is no longer a distant ideal, but a lived experience. This pivotal point is also a moment of learning and growth. By stepping into the discomfort rather than retreating, individuals gather evidence that fear can be faced and managed. Every action taken despite fear chips away at its power, building a foundation of success that fuels future efforts. This experiential learning rewires neural pathways, creating new associations between challenge and capability. The brain begins to recognize that fear does not have to equal failure or pain, but can coexist with achievement and joy. Moreover, this breakthrough creates ripple effects that extend beyond the immediate challenge. It reshapes how individuals approach future fears and obstacles. With this newfound confidence, what once seemed insurmountable starts to look like an opportunity for growth. Resilience strengthens, self-trust deepens, and the ability to navigate uncertainty improves. This is the moment when fear stops being a barrier and becomes a companion on the journey toward personal transformation. The key moment is rarely dramatic or public. It often happens in quiet reflection or in the midst of taking a simple but courageous step. It might be speaking up in a meeting despite nerves, making that difficult phone call, or pursuing a dream project with vulnerability and commitment. Whatever the form, this moment represents a profound internal shift, an awakening to one's own power and potential. It marks the transition from being controlled by fear to leading with confidence, setting the stage for a life driven by purpose rather than limitation. Overcoming fear is a transformative journey that requires more than just wishful thinking. It demands intentional effort and practical strategies. Fear is not something to be eradicated completely, as it is a natural human response designed to protect us. Instead, the key lies in learning how to manage fear effectively, recognizing it, understanding its origins, and consciously choosing how to respond. This approach empowers individuals to break free from the paralyzing grip of fear and step into a life marked by confidence and purpose. The process begins with awareness. When fear is identified clearly and objectively, it loses much of its mysterious power. Bringing fear into the light enables individuals to examine it critically, reducing its hold over their thoughts and behaviors. From there, shifting one's internal state plays a crucial role because the mind and body are interconnected. Changes in posture, breathing, and focus can quickly alter emotional experiences. This physiological shift helps calm the nervous system and create mental space for more constructive thinking. Action is the cornerstone of lasting change. Taking deliberate steps forward, even when fear is present, builds momentum and reinforces self-trust. Each small victory accumulates, strengthening confidence and reshaping the brain's response to fear-inducing situations. This repeated practice gradually rewires conditioned patterns rather than an occasional breakthrough. The willingness to act despite discomfort creates a new narrative, a one in which fear serves as a signal for preparation and focus rather than a barrier. Support from others also enhances this journey. Surrounding oneself with positive influences provides encouragement, accountability, and perspective. Sharing fears openly helps diminish their power and invites empathy and constructive feedback. Learning from others' experiences offers inspiration and practical tools, reinforcing the belief that overcoming fear is possible. Finally, reframing fear as an ally rather than an enemy changes the entire dynamic. When fear is seen as a signal rather than a stop sign, it becomes a guidepost that alerts us to opportunities for growth and learning. This mindset shift transforms fear into a catalyst for development, fueling progress instead of hindering it. By integrating awareness, physiological shifts, courageous action, supportive relationships, and a positive mindset, individuals unlock their potential to live boldly. Fear no longer dictates their choices. Confidence becomes the foundation on which they build meaningful, fulfilling lives. This transformation opens the door to new experiences, deeper self-understanding, and a greater capacity to navigate life's uncertainties with grace and resilience. In embracing fear and moving forward regardless, people claim their power and create a future defined not by limitation, but by possibility. The journey to overcoming fear and building lasting confidence begins with a single step: your decision to take control. Fear may feel overwhelming at times, but it does not have to dictate your life. The first and most important action you can take is to become aware of when fear arises. Start paying attention to those moments of hesitation, doubt, or anxiety. Acknowledge them without judgment. and name the fear. This simple practice creates distance between you and the emotion, allowing you to see it as a manageable experience rather than an insurmountable barrier. Next, commit to shifting your internal state whenever fear tries to take hold. Use your body as a tool to change your mindset. Stand tall, breathe deeply, and focus your attention on positive and empowering thoughts. These small but powerful changes signal to your brain that you are ready to face challenges rather than retreat from them. Practicing this regularly will strengthen your ability to move from fear to confidence in any situation. Perhaps the most transformative step is to take action despite fear. It's normal to feel uneasy or uncertain, but the key to building confidence is to move forward anyway. Start with small actions that stretch your comfort zone. Speak up in a meeting, try a new hobby, or reach out to someone new. Each courageous step will build momentum and reinforce your belief in your ability to handle what comes next. Remember, confidence grows through doing, not waiting for fear to disappear. Surround yourself with supportive people who encourage your growth. Share your fears with trusted friends or mentors who can provide perspective, motivation, and accountability. Learning from others' experiences and having a community can make the process feel less daunting and more inspiring. You don't have to face fear alone. Finally, change how you think about fear itself. Instead of seeing it as a stop sign, view it as a signal, a prompt that you're on the edge of growth. When fear appears, let it remind you that you're pushing boundaries and expanding your potential. Embrace the discomfort as part of the journey rather than something to avoid. Your life is waiting beyond fear. By practicing awareness, shifting your state, taking action, seeking support, and reframing fear, you can transform how you experience challenges. Commit to this process today. The courage to start is already within you. Take that first step now and watch how your confidence unfolds. The future you desire is on the other side of fear.